You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa. Okay. I know this is a very special exclusive edition. That's why we're streaming really a little bit late. And yes, the purpose of this exclusive edition is to get a very big professor, scholar, elder, as Professor James told us yesterday. Baba Fundishi is going to be with us tonight, and Sister Felicia. So while we're waiting on them to connect, please make sure you're sharing this. Okay. Wow, we have the great scholar Baba Fundishi is right here with us. I'm so sorry that I just had to bring you live into the stream. It's just because the stream has been acting up so much. I've been waiting for more than an hour just for us to go live. I don't know what is going on, people, when they hear that our great professors are coming live. People are just getting scared. And I'm just like, what are they scared of? This is the time. It's the time for Africa. It's the time of the grand rising. It's the time for our connection. It's the time for Africa to evolve like it was before. And there's no stopping it. We said it a couple of times. It doesn't matter how much you are going to try to distract us, how much you want to shut our voices down. There's no turning back. It's too late. It's just too late. And so we have Babam Fundishi right here with us. I mean, I cannot believe this, right? When we're talking about Black excellence, and I'm sitting here, I don't know how to address him. I don't know how to call him. I don't even know how to talk about him. You saw the list that I gave, a whole long list of who he is. And I think through that list, he's going to be explaining to us, from stage to stage, how he became, what he is today. Like I said, I don't even know how I can address him. We are just so blessed and honored and humbled to have him here. Professor James Small already warned us yesterday. Like I can say, he already warned us yesterday that he who is going to be hosting Baban Fundishi, you have to be very clear with your intentions, okay? So that we are not disgraced in or we are not caught like in the shock of it. So I'm so happy that we have him here. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me, Baban?
Good.
Wonderful. All right. Let me see if the volume, if we can increase the volume. And I want to thank all of you that are connecting, that have been anticipating and waiting for so long. Who would not wait? Actually, who would not wait? Because I've also been waiting. I see Jennifer, you know, even those from the House of Congo saying we were already here. Spiritual Travel is saying I've been waiting. Though I'm on the continent, I cannot sleep when I hear that. The great professor a great scholar, a great elder, a great researcher, educator, teacher, mentor, leader, everything that we want to put. Thank you, Mr. Paul Brown, for saying, yes, I waited for all this time. Yes, we all have to wait because, like I said, we have a big lion in the house. We have the king in the house. And you know how we do it on the continent. You know how we do it. All of you that are born and raised in the village girls like us, we know what it means when the elder is coming. You can imagine, I hope your compounds are clean, everybody is intact, all right? Because we want to actually um, get the blessings of our honorable here, of our king here, who has a lot to share with us regarding the Black Excellence event that we're already on it right now, because this is already the event going on right now here. So, Baba, I bless you and I welcome you in this place.
Dua.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Dua. Sante Sana.
Sante Sana.
Pleasure to
Yes.
be here.
Thank you so very much, Baba. A lot have been said about you. Particularly Professor James yesterday was just kind of like, build some momentum about who you are before you even came. Is it possible that we hear from your mouth who our great? We don't want to think who you are, but we want to start to know and start this journey on the Pan African Daily TV with you. So you have the honor to just, you're welcome in this space, Baba. Go ahead.
Well, you can see my name, Mfundisi Chihutimas Ka Interu, Hassan Kamal Salim. I'm Hassan Kamal Salim. It's a Swahili name. My father's from Tanzania, East Africa. And so the middle name, Kamal, is Kikuyu, and it means the silent warrior. So Hassan Kamal Salim means a silent warrior for peace, a good silent warrior for peace. And then I became a Kemetic spiritual priest, and I annexed the name Jehutimus Ka in Heru as a high priest of the Kemetic spiritual order, a priest scientist, and I've been inaugurated on the African continent and in the United States. And then I'm a grandmaster in the combat arts, the Manchu combat arts of Kupagana and Gumi. I'm a grandmaster, and Mfundishi is the title of a grandmaster. And I'm also a master in Shaolin Hongar Kung Fu. So I'm a professor, an educator, a world traveler, a lecturer. I've been to 28 countries on the African continent. I'm taking a group to Egypt on April the 3rd, and this is my 33rd trip to Egypt. I read the hieroglyphics, what we call Madu Necha, and I teach it. I teach it at the university level. I teach it from my own center. I have students from all around the world who can take my class on the internet on my mfundisichihutimas.net. And I've trained over thousands of students to be able to read this language and be able to capture the secrets that our ancestors left for us. They etched it in stone, not to be a dead language and forgotten. They etched it in stone so that we can read who we were, who we are, and who we are meant to be. We are the founders of civilization. We created writing. We, we created civilization as we know it today. We plotted the stars. We are the original star charters. In the Medu Netra, it said we have recorded 3 sun years. A sun year is approximately 26,000 years. So that's 75,000 years we have been recording. So now I ask the question, where was everybody else on the planet 75,000 years ago? In Europe, we only had Neanderthal and Denisovan, cavemen. And the Africans were already plotting the stars, mathematics, science, engineering. But it's the most quiet kept secret right now because we depend upon our former enslavers to educate us. And the fox will never tell the rabbit how to become free. Okay, so it's our job to be able to educate ourselves. I've been honored. I went to Norfolk State University, which is a traditional black college in Virginia. I got a master's degree from University of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania at archaeology, anthropology, and history, and then Rutgers University, also in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And I've taught at in Europe, I've taught in the Caribbean, and I've taught in Africa. So as well as the United States. So uh, Pan Africanism is my life. I live it, eat it, drink it every day. I'm on a mission. My ancestors are behind me. They walk with me and they guide me every day, every second of every hour. So I'm on a divine mission. So it's an honor to be here with you, sharing with your audience this information. So I'm open for any questions or where you want me to start. I kind of gave you a general outline, uh, you know, um, of what I do. I've taught history, African history, African American history, world history. I'm an archaeologist and anthropologist. Um, I speak a couple of African languages, but I teach the Madu Necha because that's my main thing. I want us to, what I've taught in Ghana at the University of Ghana at Legon, I taught a class of Madu Necha to people who spoke Ashanti Tree. And what happens is that the Madu Necha enhances their understanding of their own language. And so as I began to teach Swahili students Madu Necha, and some of the other, Kikuyu and some of the other students, I'm realizing that the Madu Necha not only is an African language, but it enhances everybody's language because it incorporates mineralogy, it incorporates astrology, it incorporates understanding herbology, it incorporates understanding zoology, understanding the animals. So it's the mineral domain, the plant domain, the animal domain, the human domain, and the spirit domain are all in the Madu Necha. I'm a component of teaching symptomatic thinking. See, the brain can only think two ways, either symbolically or symptomatically. Symbolically is something someone told you. It doesn't have to be the truth. It doesn't even have to be real. And you incorporate it as if though it is the truth. Racism is based upon symbolic thought. Religion is based upon symbolic thought. I don't have to prove anything. Just take my word for it. Symptomatic thinking means I can prove it. It is logical. I'm part of it. It's tangible. That's how the mind thinks. That's how the mind was originally geared to think. When you tell your little child, you say, fire, hot. So the little kid looks at the fire. He doesn't believe you. He sticks his finger in there. Ah, hot. Now, symptomatically, no one ever have to tell him again that fire is hot. He knows intrinsically that fire is hot. So systematic thinking, it should be how we learn. So that means I can prove everything. It's tangible. You see, when I'm teaching about ancient Kemet, I can show you the mummy. The building is still standing. The pyramids are still there. The black faces are still on the wall. The writing is still there. It's not symbolic thought. It's symptomatic. It is concrete. Pi, the golden means, phi, these mathematical formulas are all built in the buildings. So it's not a hypothesis. It's not MFUNDISHI on a mind trip. No, these are facts. So everything that we talk about, I try to make sure symptomatically I can prove it. I can show you. Religion doesn't do that. Religion is not a history book. Religion doesn't have no facts. You can't find nobody's grave. You can't find nobody's bones. Even the buildings are not even there anymore. And this is 2, 3, 4,000 years older, and I can find everything. So symptomatic versus symbolic. So that I teach that. So when I teach the language, symptomatic. And let me just give you a quick language lesson here. In Ghana, we have a word called abroni. And if you ask the average Ghanaian, what does the word abroni mean? He'll say, oh, it means the white man, or it means stranger. But no, that's symbolic. The original ancestors that created the word means destroyer. When they came upon the European colonists and enslavers, they were destroyers. They destroyed their culture, their land, their history, their family, everything. So they call these people the destroyers. Okay. In Swahili, we have a word called wazungu. And if you ask the average person who speaks Swahili, what does wazungu mean? They'll say, oh, it means the white man, or it means stranger. No, it meant destroyer. It meant a person who has a soul like a 2-year-old that just wants to devour and take. See, so even people now, when we are learning our own language, we learn symbolically. Somebody just told us that, but we don't even know why it's that. So I try to teach symptomatic thought. We can prove it. It is concrete. I'm a priest-scientist, not just a priest and not just a scientist. I'm a priest-scientist. And so the idea is that everything has to be logical. It has to be able to be traced. We can prove it. It is tangible. I can feel it. Even those things I can't see, I can feel it. That's why the spirit world is so great. And see, they can't control the spirit world, so they make you scared of it. So if I talk spirit to some people who are very religious, it's like, oh, no. That's that voodoo. That's that, they get shaken. If they understood the power of the spirit world, they would be running to it with their hands out. And so, my sister, thank you for allowing me to open up. But now you can ask me any questions and I'm ready.
Prof, there's just no question that we have to ask you. I think we this kind of excellence can only be felt in the first instance on the HAPI Black Excellence that is coming up tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I say tomorrow, on Saturday, but we're already starting now. So
Yes.
this kind of power, this kind of energy, I already see most of my fans here like, wow, this is it. Like, as if we were still just taking baby steps, but it's as if we're really going to get down to the work to get it done,
Yes.
to deliver, not to just romance. Like, we were being a little bit nice, as I can say, even with our thoughts, with ourselves. But the power, the energy, the truth that you're bringing, the proofs, everything that you're giving us to show us the evidence, it's here. And I think there's not anything, we're not going to ask any question right now. We just want to focus on what is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
What is going to happen at your
Black,
performance
Black
on
excellence.
Saturday?
Black excellence is just going to be, people don't miss it if you can. If you can't get there physically, then you can go and live stream it. It's going to be a powerhouse. Brother Kamati, Dr. James Small, some of the people are just icons. They are dynamic people, dynamic human beings, dynamic educators. The idea is that we have, our history shows that at our very best, we created the concept of excellence. When you look at the walls of ancient Kemet, you see excellence.
Yes.
When you're looking at the Medu Neter, you see excellence. When you see us trotting the stars, you see excellence. When you see the way they dress, you see excellence. And by the way, you look gorgeous, my sister, in your outfit. Excellence at every level. And so the people who are presenting are not people who are just talking. It's people who have presented excellence in their life. I'm honored. I'm the author of about 8 books. This is one of my books, that Spiritual Warriors Are Healers. My latest 2 books is The Spirit of the Magi, Menchu Hotep and the Spirit of the Magi. a volume 1 and a volume 2. And I'm honored to say that all my books have received 5 stars. That's the highest you can go. And I've won tremendous awards. This was the best historic novel of 2022 and 21. And my new book is right on. And I have another book coming out this year, will be part of a trilogy, volume 3, to Menchu Hotep and the Spirit of the Magi. But every one of the people who are speaking has this type of scholarship. I'm honored that my book is being used in over 30 universities in African studies. Wow. And it's under spirituality, it's under history, it's under African studies, and even I have chapters dealing with the combat arts of martial arts, because martial arts is part of everything. I was taught to develop something and not be able to protect it. It's like not having it at all. Someone will take it. So you have to be able to defend. So mentally, physically, and spiritually. And this is what we have to learn. So excellence is taking that into consideration. So you develop something, and now you have to be able to protect it. So we want to share it. See, we all come here. We're all visitors to the planet. We come here to learn, to study, to share, to love, to protect this planet, and to complete your earthly mission, and then return home.
Absolute. I share.
And so Black excellence is going to be shown. Each one of those speakers is coming with fire. And so you don't really want to miss it. And then the vendors will be selling wares that is indicative of that. Not just selling stuff, but selling things. Like we have a map, one of the best maps that's been created about ancient Kemet. And my students and we all collectively came together and created this. So the original language, Medu Necha, is there. All of the cities, the towns, the kings, the rulers, everything is in the traditional language with a key chart to the side, so that if a person understands English or Greek or Latin, they can still read it. So we've developed that. So the idea is that, you see, creating is one thing. Who manufactures and who distributes is just as important. And we've been left out of those other arenas. Do you realize right now there's no major museum in the world that has one book on ancient Kemet by an African author? Not even people like Sheikh Anta Diop.
That's very true.
Bango. You see, so that's symbolic thought. They're not trying to give you the real facts that you can touch. So Black excellence is going to be a day to remember. We had a preview to that called One Africa in Detroit last year. And it was, you could still buy the DVD or you could still buy the tape. It was standing room only all day. It was fantastic. I was honored to be the opening speaker at that particular conference. And it was powerhouse all the way through. So please, excellence, Black excellence, y'all.
Baba, what do you think about Black history? When they say Black history and they put Black History Month, and we know you as this scholar of our story, I mean, what is the contradiction there? I mean, anything that I just see that is being promoted by non-Africans, I question it a lot. Is it really for us, or it's a product now that has to be sold? Just like the Dr. Martin Luther King Day, and we say chocolate and we sell space and we sell whatever, knowledge, or even it's the same thing. So, but you're coming with our story, not Black history. What can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Well, let me just go back to its roots here. Is that when your history has been denied, when your culture has been denied, you're severed from your ancestors. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you don't know who your ancient ancestors were, you get severed from them, disconnect. So therefore, you don't know who you are. You don't know what you have done. You don't know what your contribution has been. And so we say black because black is strong and powerful and is the essence of all things. If we say African history, then people think we're only talking about Africans on the continent. If we say African American history, then we think about only Africans in America. But we're talking about Africans in the diaspora as well as the continent.
Correct.
So when we use this word black, that's what we're encompassing. We're talking about blacks like I do a tour in Brazil. We're talking about the largest number of African people outside of the continent is in Brazil. And so when we have this, and they celebrate Black History Month. In fact, I spoke the last 2 years to the largest Black History Month program in Europe. It was held in England. Brother Andrew did a fantastic job, Black History. And we had over 200 and something vendors come in. We had several thousands of people come through a one-day affair from early in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. It was tremendous. And we had speakers in every arena. And so the idea of Black history is that when a person has been denied, you have to start somewhere. You understand? You have to start somewhere. And so the idea is we want to teach them their history and their culture. So that's like where Kwanzaa comes in. Kwanzaa is really a cultural celebration.
Correct.
And your culture explains your connection to the planet and to the universe. How you interpret that relationship. Everybody has a culture. Animals have a culture. Everybody has a culture. So your culture has to be connected to your history. And my sister, it's unfortunate it is only 1 month recognized by the government, but we celebrate Black history 24/7, 12 months a year.
Absolute. That's the point.
That's what we do. But you understand, you're in the belly of the beast. And when you're in the belly of the beast, sometimes there are concessions that you have to make, and so you have to start somewhere until you can get total control. Like right now, we fought in the 60s and 70s, we fought for African studies programs. Okay, we finally got them, but now that's like a Band-Aid when you need a major operation. We're not going to badmouth the Band-Aid. I'll take the Band-Aid, okay, but we need to be able to develop our own institutions. I worked for over 20 years for a group called CB. That's the Council of Independent Black Institutions. And what we did is develop our own curriculum based upon the needs of African people in the diaspora, as well as the continent. And then we educated our kids from pre-K to college. And that's what every group does. Okay. Unfortunately, as I travel around the African continent, most of Africa's educational system is still neo-colonialism. It's still basically set up by the colonial enslavers. With a little hodgepodge. Most African people know more about, if you come from a French-speaking country, you know more about France than you do your own country.
Absolutely.
An English-speaking country, you know more about England than you do your own people. So, and the only way to do that is you take control of your education. Everybody has done that. We as an African people are just beginning to do that. And this is what Black excellence is about. From the cradle to the grave, we should be responsible for our well-being.
Wow. So are you going to be selling tickets or the tours to Kemet in April, you said? um, are they going to be? Are you going to outline the program how people can be a part of that
Wait,
during the Black Excellence this weekend?
I missed the first part. Am I going to be selling tickets to?
No, are you going to be? How do I want to say? Yes. How can people join the program to Kemet in April?
Oh yes, yes. I'll have flyers there, Mike. I'm one of the vendors also right in the lobby. So not only am
Mhm.
I a guest speaker, I'm a businessman also. So I have my students and people there who have flyers and they have stuff like that. So yes, so we have a trip, like I said, April 3rd. It's 2 weeks in Kemet, and I take you in the temples, I take you in the pyramids, I take you a cruise down the Nile, the longest river in the world. We go into the Nubian village, the original inhabitants before the Arabs came there. The Nubians there. We go in the village. We go to the Nubian Cultural Center. We go to the the Egyptian Culture Museum. We do all the pyramids. We go to the sacred burial grounds. And then we're going across to the Red Sea, all the way across. So we take you to the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens. Usually they don't do that. I'm taking people to because Knet Hatshepsut Aman, who was a woman who ruled as the king, her tomb in the Valley of the Queens is one of the most best preserved tombs in Kemet, in Egypt. And usually you can't get in there. But I've been so many times they make concessions and they allow me to go in. So I'm taking people inside of it so they can see this powerful woman who ruled the most powerful woman in the world for over 25, 30 years. And they need to see her mortuary temple. So this is going back to symptomatic thought. So it's not like a feel-good thing. We take you in the temple. You see her. You see her writings on the wall. You see the imagery all around the place. Excellence. Black excellence at its best. They can go on my website, which is mfundishijehutimus.net, and just go under events and trips, and the trip will come up. The whole itinerary comes up, and we provide 3 meals a day, all your accommodations, airfare, everything.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I mean, you heard him. I'm part of it already. So, of the Happy movement. Happy is the one that is connecting this excellence, whether in Europe or on the continent of Africa or in the diaspora. But at
Yes.
least this is something that the diaspora, Africans in the diaspora, are creating. We're talking about creating the Africa that we want, and the Happy movement, bringing all of us together, the best of the best. All right. And should this be something like when we say, I mean, we're talking about the continent and we talk about our roots. It's like something is going to happen between the mother continent and its children in the diaspora will have to sit at a negotiation table, and each person is going to bring what do I have to contribute to create the Africa that we want. And
Right.
this is part of the journey, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. It's definitely part of the journey. So it's everybody is contributing. Like I'm part of development of a village in Ghana, in Akosombo, the eastern region. And so we're building schools, we're building a culture center, a healing center. We have a 100-acre farm. So again, we're practicing what we preach. And
Mm.
we come bringing, not come begging, not come asking. We come to be part of that whole expression of the African feeling. And so the idea is that Africans from the diaspora are coming home. Brother James Small, over 25 years ago, explained this concept of Africans in the diaspora like a giant crystal that was broken into pieces. And the pieces went all around the world. And we are now putting those pieces back together again. And so as we come back, we're coming back with new experiences, even to make us more powerful. Okay. So Africa in the future is going to be, Africa was the breadbasket in the beginning, and you'll see the future, it will be the breadbasket again. But us back in control of our own. So we don't want to control anybody else. We just want to control our own resources, our own people. That's all.
Well said. We don't want to control anybody else. I love that statement. That's what made me. I had to laugh. Like, we're not even interested. We're so many, and we're just minding our African business by drinking our water all the time. To say that we just have so much that we have to figure out. So it's not about controlling anybody or even the world, like we're saying. But anyway, you all heard here. And for any of you who is still doubting what Black excellence in Queens is going to look like, you can already begin to smell it. You already feel it. You touch it, right? We're not going to unveil everything here. We know that before we will have to earn the credit of having Baba Mfundishi, I mean, once a month, or depending on how Happy Movement is actually going to structure us, to be able to get to that point. But Baba, I thank you so much. At the conference in Detroit, you were there. You gave the opening. It was amazing. I mean, I had to sit back again and watch, and had been begging my sister, my twin sister Felicia, everyday sister Felicia. So, Sister Felicia, when am I going to have? When is the Pan African Daily going to be blessed to have Baba Mfundishi? Felicia would always like, okay, I would fix that up. But this time again, you are coming to the Black Excellence Conference, to the Happy Movement. What is the energy that you see that Happy is bringing to this new Africa that we are creating? And that energy that we have to replicate everywhere, because from in New York, we are going to Germany in June. That's already set. It's a whole movement. So,
Mm.
Baba, tell us how the power that is unstoppable, the fire that is coming, that is spreading all over. What is the impact?
Yes. Uh, and again, not the Black excellence is also based upon a new type of Black love that we have to have for each other. You see,
Yes.
what the enslavement process did was made us not trust each other. It made
Hmm.
us not love each other. And so this Black excellence is also about a love that we have to have for each other. And
Mm.
that through that love, we can solve all of our own problems. So the idea is to have the elders who are connected to the ancestors, and then the experts are connected to the elders who are connected to the ancestors who are connected to the one, and then the scribe. So you're a scribe. The media, TV, magazines, newspaper, y'all are the scribes. You connect the people to the experts and the elders. So you have a tremendous job in front of you. And then the schools feed off of this. So the schools attach these experts that you expose, and they bring them into the schools. We read their works. And so now they become inspired. And then it's a spiraling effect as we move around. Each one teach one. And so
Yes.
that's what's happening. So we have the spirit of the one, then we have the ancestors, we have the elders, we have the experts, we have the scribes, and then we have this institutions that are going to make it work for all the people. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. I want to thank our brother who just became a member, and all of you that are watching us. I mean, to get into this space, I mean, to be on this excellence that the Happy Movement started in Detroit. Now we're taking it over to Queens, New York, and we'll be taking it over to Germany in June, and we'll be taking over to Kemet with Brother Mfundishi in April. We'll be taking it everywhere. It is unstoppable. I don't even know what, just like my sister Felicia always said, I don't know what we are talking about if we are not talking about, ourselves. If we're not talking about ourselves, I don't know what a black person or African should be doing on this earth, when we are not really talking about this kind of excellence. Baba, I cannot wait. I'm not calling you, Baba is a title that we give in the village to the honorables, to the kings. It is just, it's in, you see the way my mouth is heavy to pronounce your name. I cannot. It's not possible.
You can do it. It's no
I'm
problem.
a village girl, raised and born and groomed in the village under the rocks. the two rocks in my village. And that's what I'm going to be sharing at the conference. But I want to tell most of you that have already signed in and said, Dr. Susan, I've bought my ticket. I don't, some are even asking, we would be close together in the hotels and stuff like this. And like, you also have to understand that Happy has given us the opportunity that people can have a one-on-one conversation. So you can book Baba Mfundishi, you can book Baba Kaba, you can book Felicia, you can book Tagi, you can book all of us that are going to be there, Professor James, on a one-on-one conversation within the conference and even out of the conference. And I think this is one of the most powerful events that is bringing that kind of momentum, bringing us together. But the theme is power and unity. And we're going to talk about economics because you also touched the point that I'm a businessman. Is it wrong for us to be business people? Because this word has been colonized in our minds as a continent of charity and donations and stuff. When we hear the word business, Africans always think like, I don't know. But it is right for us to do business, isn't it, Baba?
It is good. In fact, Hapi's film is on Black economics. The Hapi film is on Black economics, which is the foundation of business. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you need to have a good business mind, understand that commerce, trade, goods and services have to be rendered so that all the people can be happy. It's like you have something and I have something and we barter and exchange. Now both of us are happy. Okay, so business is part. In fact, one of the greatest things that ancient Kemet, Egypt, was known for was its trade. Mm-hmm. The Nile Valley opened up, the Nile River was like cultural highway of commerce and economics. Mm-hmm. From the inside of interior of Africa, traveled down the Hapi River. Caravans came across the desert, okay, bringing goods, food, salt, spices, gold, precious stones, minerals, and we traded the world with that. And so we actually introduced commerce to the world. And now we have to take it back. We're not stopping other people from doing it, but we have to claim it for ourselves. So like I said, we can solve all of our own problems. So we got to be thinking culturally, economically, politically. Dr. One of my esteemed professors, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, talks about, he says you have the politics, you have economics, and you have culture. Culture, economics, politics. That's the pyramid he teaches from. And so you have a political governance that supports the culture, and the culture supports the economy. And the cycle continues.
That's it. I mean, I'm just like, every time it's like I should just scream and shout and jump and dance because you're saying something that we've been talking for centuries. When we look starting from our villages, like my father was a caterer, was a businessman, all of them from my mother, whether they were farmers, they had to trade, take the rest of the food to the market and compensate it with the things, with the value that is added from the original plants that we fed ourselves. Now, when we go to wait, let me put it again like this. What do they mean when they say civilization started at the Nile River? It is just saying that trade and commerce started at the Nile River, isn't it? Yes. Am I wrong to say so?
You see, when we talk about civilization, you have to put some things together. Number one, that you have a language, a common language that everybody speaks. Number two, you have a planned city, not just a village, but you have a planned city of commerce. You have a place where commerce is taking place. You are educating yourself and you can defend yourself. So all those things have to take place. You have economics in place. You can feed yourself, commerce, farming. You educate yourself, You can defend yourself, and you have a political system, and you have a a village that is planned and structured with with architecture and engineer. Now you have a civilization, not just a little hamlet, that little so, and that can perpetuate and expand. And so the Happy Valley is the first place on the planet where that was done in any large scale. So that's the Nile River. The Nile River became that cultural highway. And from there, and it got that from the interior of Africa. So I have to let people know when I talk about Kemet, ancient Egypt, is that Kemet was the mouthpiece of the African continent. The scholars came from South Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, all of these places, and they conjugated down the Nile. Because if you're in West Africa and you develop some great housing out of wood, because you're in the rainforest, so that's available to you, how long is that going to last? Maybe a couple 100 years. You have the rainy season, it gets rotten, it's gone. And ancient Kemet, they build in stone. And so here it is 5,000 years later, and it's still there. See, so that's the beauty of that. We took the genius of the interior of Africa and etched it in stone. So I want, so I don't want people to think, oh, I'm from South Africa and he's only talking about Kemet. No, in fact, the Ankh, the oldest picture of an Ankh is found in South Africa. The oldest example of Ra, the circle with the dot, is the oldest example of Haru is found in Southern Africa, going back over 50,000 years. In fact, the pyramids are aligned with the Great Zimbabwe. The 30th parallel, if you come down, you have Great Zimbabwe, and you come down and you have they call Adam's calendar in South Africa, which is just like it's a calendar of the equinox and the solstice. It's aligned with the pyramids. So that means, and it's more ancient than ancient Kemet. So that means that Kemet was in tune with Great Zimbabwe, was in tune with South Africa, all the way down. You see that? So this continuity. See, this is what I talk about when I said symptomatic thought. So in order for that, and we can prove it, they're still there. They're still there. And so we talk about Great Haru. We can see everything that was in ancient Kemet. There's a Quastil incense burner from ancient Kush in the Sudan. And I have it in my book, Spiritual Warriors Are Healers. I have the picture of the Quastil incense burner. And everything that you see in ancient Kemet was already done in ancient Kush in the Sudan. The white crown being worn, the kingship in the stool, all of this was already done before. So Kemet inherited a great civilization from the interior of Africa, not Europe, not Asia. Okay, and we can prove it. We can show you that, and so all they got to do is look up the Quastil incense burner. It's housed in the Boston Museum, the original artifact. And it shows you, all of the artifacts and all the paraphernalia of ancient Kemet was already old, coming from the interior of Africa. So that's what I talk when I say symptomatic thoughts, my sister. That's why that's so important. We see it etched in stone. Etched in stone. Narmer palette shows the first king of ancient Kemet, the unification. We have the palette. It's in the Cairo Museum. And he's wearing the white crown from the south with the braided beard, coming from like Tanzania and East Africa. That was a symbol of wisdom. Okay, so we can see symptomatically all the way around. So all the stuff you see in Kemet comes from the interior of Africa. I have to get to wind down. We got about 3 minutes, and I have to go to another show.
Yes, I know. I know, Baba. So this like particularly we're moving into the subject matter of business, how we do business, how we Africans do business. We don't do business like I just want to grab it. We have the spirit of Ubuntu. I mean, if you are successful, then I need to be successful as well. That's the power and the spirit of the spirituality of our business concept, isn't it?
Yes, you're correct. I mean, that has to be done. The spirit, we have to make a spiritual connection. And that's the power of African people. I think among the Holocaust that we've had, we call the Maungumizi, the main thing that allows us to survive is our connection to spirit. And we're such a spiritual. That's why we've engulfed religion. We thought religion was spirituality. Unfortunately, we've been led astray, and we have to reclaim our spirit. And your spirit got to be connected to your culture. Your culture is your medicine. I hope your listeners can, if they don't hear anything I've said, remember this statement. Your culture is your medicine. If you get severed and don't know your culture, you're going to be lost. You're going to be sick. You're going to be in somebody else's culture because everybody is surviving in a culture. So if you don't know what culture it is, it's the culture of your oppressor. So take control. I try to teach people, be the captain of your ship. I'm not the captain of my children's ship. I'm not the captain of my mate's ship. I'm the captain of my ship. I want my son and daughter to be the captain of their ship. I want my mate to be the captain of her ship. Now we all come together and we create a fleet. And that's much more powerful than one little captain. And so people, you can only be the captain of your ship if you're in control of yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Thank you so much, Baba Bayete. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have one cent and priest and all the blessings that we're always having here. The ancestors are always with us. I want to congratulate our brother Lee Felder. Every week he gives us, every day that we're live, he gives us a sticker of $50. Thank you so very much.
So hopefully you invite me back, and next time I won't have any limitations, and we can.
No, no, we're gonna take you straight into this, but tomorrow we're gonna be seeing ourselves and we put some stuff together that we'll bring also on the show. So thank you so much. I know we actually don't have the time to be with you now, but it was a pleasure to have you here. Do you just want to say one last word? I mean, to the audience before we meet tomorrow.
Just come to Black Excellence. Make sure you try to make it. That's this Saturday in Queens, New York. You're going to come across some dynamic speakers, dynamic presentations, dynamic village of commerce and economics. You're going to see 2 dynamic films. I happen to be honored. I'm in both of the films that's going to be shown. It's just going to be a great time of Black excellence and Black love. So come with your heart open. Come with your pad, pencil, so you can network and connect with these people. And I'm just looking forward to touching bases with as many people as we can. I want to say Asante Sana for listening to me. If I've said anything of value, use it in your life right away. Peace and harmony.
Thank you so very much. I think all of us are going over now to HAPI as well. That was a program that I mistakenly said we would have had yesterday, but as apparently our our manager, Mr. Brother Taggy Grant, actually because of the too much stuff that is going on around this Black Excellence. So we'll be going over to Happy Talks. I think that's where you're going. I'll only have to round up.
Happy Talks, yes.
Exactly. We're also going there. Also gonna be there. All of us are going to meet there at 9:30 Eastern. I think we're almost on it right now. So thank you, Baba. I'll join you there shortly. And yes, thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much for having
me. Peace and blessings. Yes. Thank you. Wow. Good. So thank you, all of you, the happy people. Happy people. Happy, wealthy people. There's just no way again I can describe us, this family here. I don't know how to describe us again than just to say we the happy people. All right. And one of the things that I get to discover and I get to realize in the couple of these hours that went before is what the conference is putting on to start teaching us how to do business. You know, we talk most of the time about teaching about our culture, where we come from, our spirituality, who we are. I think we are really, really way back, way in front of that. And these are things we always will be talking about anyway. If you look at the European system or the Caucasian system, they talk about their cultures. They even bundle it and just put it in the museums now. At some point in time, we're not only going to be talking about our spirituality, who we are, I mean, the essence of, we're going to move forward to start creating the world that we all deserve to have. It is going to be history in a very short time that we'll be talking about hunger and poverty, in ancient Africa that we are constructing now in the Alkebulan. So one of the basic steps of every motivations that we're going to be doing at the Happy Conference tomorrow, starting tomorrow, as I can say already, is how do we do business? And I can't wait for each and every one of us to understand how we do business in a village context. That's going to be part of my presentation. How we do business. How did our ancestors, our parents, our fathers, our mothers, survive just from farming and raising us generation unto generation. And today we look at all those functions, those skills, those businesses, agribusinesses, as if, I mean, when you on the continent where you say your father is a farmer or your mother is a farmer, people look at you are like, we see so brainwashed that they have to say your father is an administrator or your father is a politician. Or your father is a governor or a deal. All those professions that were I mean, how do I say? You just know the words. I told you we have to be very careful because we already had been on the warning for 10 days and we could not go live. So some of the things I roll my tongue a little bit, but I know that we understand ourselves. You understand what I'm trying to say. That's how damaged our brains have been. But if you look in the origin of the richest, of the wealthiest people, the wealthiest nations has always been rich through agriculture, farming. Because like in Africa, we say your earth will never fail you. The earth, right? The ground, the soil can never fail you. It can never divorce you. It can never backstab you. It will never betray the love that it has for you. It will never leave you hanging with children. Those are the components of how in the village they describe the earth to show you how rich and powerful our soil is. Now, Baba Fundi just said it. Your culture is your medicine. Now, when we talk about culture, sometimes we say there's no culture without agriculture. It's just because they brought all these kind of big, big, big terms and it's confusing us. It's just farming. It's just about farming. And so we can make so much money. How did we produce the spices, the herbs, the food that they had to even take us into the diaspora so that we can do it for them? What was the major thing that they brought us, that they stole us, that that they maimed and tamed us? What was it that they had to murder your mothers, your fathers? The genocide had to take place just to take you for? To build plantations. And what those plantations was? Farming. And every civilization has grown from that. And then you can imagine the continent of Africa having 100%. When they say 60, I put 30 again to it. The possibility that we can feed ourselves and become so wealthy. Now, I went through a research. What made Mansa Musa the richest person alive, not alive to us as an ancestor, that ever existed? So when we're talking about the Elon Musk or the just mm-mm. The riches was Mansa Musa. What was he dealing with? Now, the Europeans, they went and formulated and said, oh, he was dealing in gold and diamond because they started bringing it that time. If you look at us in that ancient Africa, gold and diamond, we ate it. We played with it like stones. We call it bizarres. We played with those things. We didn't even know what that was worth. Because for us, it was like toys. Okay? But the thing that Mansa Musa was famous and became so wealthy was farming. He traded on spices, on herbs. And no one would tell you, because if they had to tell us that that was how he got rich, then we would start looking at the video, the possibility of us using our soil to be rich. No. So they had to coin everything. They remove all what actually was the essence of that to say, he was dealing in gold and diamond. Because me and you, gold and diamond, were like, what is that? Right? So the real sense of it is that basics. And those basics are some of the key elements that we'll be addressing at Black Excellence. Our parents came from this farming. Us as the Bantu people, we were cattle rearing, we were pasturers. That's how we moved. That's how we did trade. That's how we crossed from one region to the other. Doing what? Trading, business. And so when you talk about business, in the context of Pan-Africanism, or particularly when an African say, I'm a business person, because the theory, the culture of doing business in the West or in the foreign countries is different, absolutely different. We do business to kill. We do business like I want to grab everything. We do business to be so self-centered. We do business like I, myself, me, and I. Only me, my children, and my this. Give me a break. Every one king watching me and a queen here owns the whole of the continent. And that's why for us, it was so important that a child is not just a child that belongs to you alone. It's the child of the universe. The wife was a wife, the bride of the continent. It never was a one-man thing. It never was, oh, me, my wife, and this. So you don't talk. Now we get into the essence of polygamy. And that's the topic I love to deal with because I'm a product of polygamy. And I tell you all the time, this is the essence of what is going to make us so filthily rich because we never were selfish people. So we have to learn what is the business culture of the African. And I'm still looking for scholars that are not talking about that. We talk too much about, yes, the things they did to us, political, economy, and that, but we're not touching the essence. How do we do business? How did we do business? How did our ancestors do business? How are we going to be doing business in the future? What is the business culture of the African? What is the business culture? Because the word even business did not exist in any of our dialect. Business. We didn't know about that. We had another term for it. And at the Black Excellence, we're going to be unveiling all this stuff. So please, I'm just still reminding you the last minute again before I join my Happy Talks. Get your ticket. It's already outsold, I know. But the streaming ticket, just get it and be there in that moment. And we're going to be dancing the Mbolo dance, okay? So I see you, the village queens. Yes, Ernest. The village queens are going to be dancing the Mbolo, the dance of the Mbolo. It means the dance of the new moon, all right? Where everything happened, where the eggs were hatched under the moons, where the storytellings took place, where the moons could transform the darkness into that magic that we call today the energy and the spirituality. Most often, this word spirituality did not exist in our dialect. So, what are those formats that could make us actually connect in such a spatial and a magnificent world? Spirituality, I give you an element, it's your drums. Because sometimes when we keep saying our spirituality, I find the simplest words to align it so that people can understand. Otherwise, we'll always be thinking it's religion. There's just no way we're going to keep saying our spirituality and people get it. It's still always going to mingle with the church politics and religion and the different types of. But spirituality, if I tell you a drum, African drum is a spirituality, then you understand that. All right. If I tell you eating with my finger and eating fufu is spirituality. If I tell you how we dance, it's spirituality. If I tell you the kind of music and why we dance in circles, so you begin to understand what spirituality is. But when we just say, we have to understand our spirituality, it's just like still those kind of illusions. Then it means I have to go and start doing something else. So thank you so very much for being our guest and our audience tonight. I hope that we'll be able to be live tomorrow. I just hope, but please, because you have your notifications when you see me come live, then we join in. So right now, I'm inviting you, please, to join us on Happy Talks right now. Okay, because Happy is going to be interviewing everybody, all of us, and putting us at the right position. So it's like a pre-meeting before. That's why you see Baba Mfundishi going there, and me too. So join us on Happy Talks. Just type Happy Talks on YouTube, and you're gonna be there. If you've not subscribed there, I don't even know why you shouldn't be. All right. So we see us shortly, people, and we continue the new moon and the dance. It's already time. So good night. We see us later. Bye.